you might feel very stressful, and that might be the worst moment in your lifetime.
And if we just take 1 year out of the 40 years to come out and try something new, right, that is just 2.5% of the entire time. And if you can make something out of it, from the 2.5%, you build a successful business, that is a big plus.
A lot of people might think that being an entrepreneur, we have a lot of flexibility. We can do truly whatever we want, like work anytime we want, invest anytime we want also. However, I would say it is truly a myth.
So you need to have that kind of mindset that your bank balance is not linear, but it is like very volatile.
Don't be afraid of this, because the most important thing is to
Hey everyone, welcome to the Future Builders podcast by Empowered Liion. I'm Daniel.
And I'm Ballerina. We are here to guide you turn your passion into a fulfilling career and live the life you desire.
It's possible to make money while doing what you truly love, and we are doing this right now.
Yay! Last week, we have covered that if you don't like your job, it's time to move on. So don't waste time to stuck in a career that you don't enjoy at all.
Yeah, but the most important factor that everyone is thinking about is money, right? About our financials. What if I don't have enough money to pay for the bills, to continue living on my life? In short, money is important, and we would not recommend you to anyhow just quit your job without a proper planning.
Because without a planning, then you just simply quit your job without a stable income. You might feel very stressful, and that might be the worst moment in your lifetime.
Yeah, so in today's episode, we are going to share 3 phases on how you can move on from your current job to your new venture. These are the frameworks that we have been using. So it consists of before you leave your job. So that's the first step. Then second step is during the transition to your new career. And third step is after your new career is established, then what you are going to do.
First of all, the planning phase is the time when you have the idea of not working in the current position anymore, or you no longer want to serve your current organization at all. So it's the time you plan to either move on to similar position but in another organization, or you want to do a complete transformation in your career path.
Yeah, there's one small tip, because in the beginning we said that don't anyhow quit the job just to not explore something. But one thing that you can do though is that you want to have a rest, a proper rest. If you have that in your mind, right, you want to have a rest for maybe a few months of time, then that is a good choice, because you know you intentionally want to rest instead of just doing nothing, then every day just thinking about what to do like that.
That's the time you can request a few months off from your current organization, telling your boss that you actually need some time to rethink your purpose in the organization. I think if your boss is thoughtful enough, they might just approve your leave. It's unpaid leave, by the way. They might just approve for a few months, and after a few months, when you come back, you can then decide again whether you want to continue your current position in the company, or you try to move on to another new one.
Yeah, so if you are feeling stuck and you're wondering whether you want to change your job, right, you can just take the stay or slay quiz at www.empoweredliion.com/double-s. It is just a few minutes time to really let yourself know what is your current situation and what you should move on next.
I think this is especially useful for those who are very lost right now. Keep hearing people like advise you to stay in your current position, but you yourself don't really enjoy it.
Yeah, so moving on, right, we will focus on people who has already got an idea on what to do next. You want to start a new venture. So what is the next step? So before you even leave your job, right, what you need to do is that you need to have an estimation about your expenses from your own living expenses and also your future business expenses for 12 months.
With that 12 months of the save up, right, you can be actually living, I wouldn't say very comfortable, but it is actually just enough that you don't need to even worry about money during that one whole year.
Yeah, so that is an assumption that you don't have any active income or passive income coming in for 12 months and could you survive from the savings that you have?
If you have already got the savings for that 12 months, actually you can just ready to leave anytime as soon as you want. However, for those who don't have the amount right now, you might want to like think twice whether you really want to leave now or you want to save up first or even do some side hustle for you to have that amount of money so that you don't need to worry about your expenses.
Yeah, so you can assess your current savings from what you have gotten from years of working. And one additional tip, if you have an investment account, let's say you invest in stock market like us, then you would take the current value of your stock market, then you divide by half, then you make that the amount that you have because we need to factor in the volatility of the market. And that can be also used in your future 12 months if it is needed.
Yes, and another small hack is that you don't just save up like just nice enough. However, you need to leave some buffer because you won't know maybe sometimes there's some emergency happening and you might need maybe some extra money. Also, for your own venture as well, you might think you can use everything which is free. For example, like the most basic tile of the account, or let's say you can just use social media to promote your own business without paying for the advertisement. However, it's not always everything is free because free means that you need to spend more time and more energy. However, when you have some buffer for that, you can actually allocate some part into those paying products. Then you can save more time and energy from there. It's a quick way for you to expand your business maybe quicker.
Yeah. Now, we have been talking about 12 months, right, as the period for you to go into the venture. Then there are a lot of people thinking that what if it fails? What if I cannot build a sustainable business after 12 months? So in that case, what happened is, I want to tell you a concept. You think about this. After 12 months, are you going to go back to work? Let's say if your venture doesn't go up well. Now, I've seen people, right, a lot of people that actually go back to the same position, same industry after a few years of being absent in the field, and they are actually getting the same pay.
Wow, that's good. That means like even you quit your job right now, then after that, when you want to go back, you can just simply go back anytime, maybe with higher salary also.
Yeah, so this is a reality. So don't think that you will lose out as compared to your peers because you think about it. Let's say if our working time in our lifetime, let's say we start working at 20 years old, then we retire at 60 years old. Then it is a 40 years of working time frame. And if we just take 1 year out of the 40 years to come out and try something new, right, that is just 2.5% of the entire time. And if you can make something out of it from the 2.5%, you build a successful business, that is a big plus. However, if you fail, it is just a small portion of your working time only. So don't think that you will really miss out a lot of things in that 1 year, it is actually not a lot if you compare the entire horizon.
I think, especially Asian people, we all are very jiasu. That means we afraid of being left behind. We want to become the top 1 or 2% talents in that industry, so that we always work overtime, we always work super hard and listen to all the instructions that is given. But are you really happy by doing this? Because life is only this long, maybe 70 or 80 years. You only have this period to do whatever you want, so that you have no regret in your entire lifetime. So for me, my advice is that although you seems like not having a stable income, or you might have the chance that not being able to work in the same position again, don't be afraid of this, because the most important thing is to live your life to the fullest and do whatever you feel like doing at the moment.
Yeah, I really love this. So, in short, when you are ready to go on to explore more some new venture, just do it. Only if the the conditions that we mentioned just now are satisfied. If you don't have enough savings, then continue doing your job first. Don't take too much risk of that.
However, Daniel, I do have a question. Let's say a person, maybe he has experiences of doing other side hustle, like being a promoter or do sales or other thing. And at the same time, he does have his own full-time work. The thing is, he hate his full-time work so much. Is it able for the person to maybe quit his full-time work first, then work for his maybe other side hustle to earn enough money before they start their 12 months?
I think the answer is yes on this, because the person is essentially still having an income from the side hustle. So we are talking about during that 12 months, is the person able to sustain, to support himself, the expenses from his living, and also the potential expenses from the business itself. Yeah, so if the person can still work and earn that income and save money, then I think it's good to go.
So the essence is that the person, no matter what kind of method or what job that he worked for, as long as he can have the ability to save up for that 12 months, it's good enough for him.
Yeah, but the thing is, when you are working on your own career, you need to be prepared to work even harder than an original employee, a typical employee. You need to learn new things. You need to be adaptful to uncertainty.
Definitely.
Now, let's move forward when you have got enough savings and you have decided to leave the job, and right now you are on the new venture, which is a transition period.
Just now, we have covered that we need to have 12 months of savings for your daily expenses before you actually start your own business. So it's the time that you really have to stick to your budget and not to exceed it. If not, you might be having a very hard time and you might not able to survive in the next few months.
Well, let me share with you my own experience.
Sure.
So the moment where I first quit my job, right, I don't even have the mood to go and spend more than what I've planned for, because I feel so insecure, and it is actually very normal. It is just good. You need to acknowledge about this, that you feel not confident because you lose that stable income, but just go with it. You just stick to your budget and just live for 12 months and you'll be good.
Then what if your friend asks you out during your time that you don't really have a stable income? Do you attend the gathering or you just say no to that?
For me, right, I would just attend those gatherings that is useful to me because originally I already don't hang out with friends that often. I'm actually on my own to learn things on YouTube.
Self-isolated.
Yeah, but if that friend is important enough to me, then I will go out with the person and I would just tell what I'm doing right now. I don't have a stable income. And if the friend knows me, then he knows me. I actually don't need to over explain what I'm doing to them. Yeah.
So for my own experience as well, when I was so young, right, my family is not a very rich family, I would say. It's like we got middle income. And then I remember at the start of every month, my mom will tell me that we need to spend carefully. We cannot spend things on those unnecessary things. We might need to reduce the times that we go out to restaurants to eat because we might not have as much money as we have in the previous month. So there's a time I feel like I can only spend what is only necessary to survive. For example, if you want to have a meal, maybe a dinner, we can choose to have those maybe more budget dinner, like in a hawker center, compared to in a restaurant or cafe, or even we just cook in our house, cook by ourselves. So when you have only this amount of money for your next 12 months expenses, right? You need to really allocate well. Like in each month, you only have how much money to spend. Don't over budget, but don't be too stingy to yourself because when you have a lot of money, you can start to think like you want to subscribe to Netflix, you want to buy Starbucks every day. However, when you have limited money for your month, maybe you can still keep your habit. Don't over limit yourself. However, you might go for more budget choice. For example, instead of having coffee in Starbucks, you can start to make coffee at home. It's another way to enjoy your life, I would say.
Yeah, so this leads to the next point, which is discipline. Discipline, not just in spending, but also in your daily routines. Because when we are working in an office 9 to 5 job, the time is fixed, right? We have to wake up at that time to go to work at that time. So there is a rules that there are rules in the company that we have to follow. But right now, when we are on our own venture, we don't have the rules. You don't have any bounds. So you have to be disciplined enough that you really wake up as if you are working in an office job. So
Yes.
this is what I have gone through. In fact, I actually work even harder when I was doing my own things than I were in the office.
Because when you're working in an office, right, the business is not yours. You're just an employee there. You just work for people. But when you're working for your own, you might think that, okay, this is my baby. I have to really take care of it, make sure it grow. So that's the time you actually work even harder than your employee is. So I would say, actually, when we first become entrepreneur, a lot of people might think that being an entrepreneur, we have a lot of flexibility. We can do truly whatever we want, like work anytime we want and dress anytime we want also. However, I would say it is truly a myth because as an entrepreneur, it's true that you can be flexible. However, flexible in the sense that you can choose your working hours, like what time you want to start work, what time you want to end your work, and which day you want to have your off day. For both of us, right, we actually will even come to the office earlier because we want to avoid the traffic jam, which we can't avoid when we are an employee.
Or we are too lazy to wake up early.
Yes. And we'll go back earlier to avoid the traffic jam during the peak hours as well.
Yeah.
And for off days wise, we will choose to rest on the weekdays because weekdays we can go wherever with less people. So we are still working very hard. We are still working maybe 5 or even 6 days in a week. But we would say that is flexible enough for us to adjust our on time.
Yeah, just think about those like typical employees doing 9 to 5 versus a salesperson in the company. So the salesperson is even flexible, they can go out to meet the clients and so on. But you often see that the most successful salesperson, right, they work even longer hours, they wake up even earlier. So it really depends on your effort. If you want good results, effort is a must.
Of course, because without any effort, you can't do anything successful, right? Then the next one is that we have to review our finances monthly. This is super important because you won't want to over budget things.
Yeah, so because initially we talk about you need to save enough money for yourself and also your new career. So right now, after a month, you need to really see that whether you are spending accordingly. So just have two lists. One is for yourself, one is for new career. See whether your budget has met.
Yes, and as times goes by, you might see that the amount left in your bank account is getting lesser and lesser. This is truly terrifying, I would say, because no one would like to see your bank account left on a few hundred or 2,000. This might be quite uncomfortable.
It is really strange that you see the bank account balance getting lower because you don't have the income, you don't have a stable income crediting into your bank account monthly. But just get used to it because even for a very successful business, there will be months they make a lot of money and there will be like months or even years that they lose money or having negative cash flow in their bank accounts. So you need to have that kind of mindset that your bank balance is not linear, but it is like very volatile.
Yes, because when your company or your business is not big enough, your monthly income can be quite different because sometimes you earn more, sometimes you earn less. As long as it is enough to cover your expenses, I would say it is good enough. We have to be grateful for it. And for your own business wise, do you encounter this before?
Yeah, actually, a lot of times I even had one time that my business just left 1 month of cash flow. If that month blows up, then that's the end of my career. But I managed to get some additional deals, like new initiative to get more sales during that month, and then my business just revived after that.
Wow. So do you actually have any employee at that moment?
Yes, I do.
Then you need to pay for the employee even that you don't really have enough cash flow for your company.
Yeah, so that is already in the budget. So I would say that most importantly is stick to the budget you have planned for that 12 months. And if, all in all, let's say after 12 months, your income is not able to sustain whatever that you are supposed to be, then don't worry. You just stop that or you just continue doing that while going back to your full-time job. So there is not an ending even if you don't succeed in the 12 months.
And very important point is that when you do your monthly review for your financials, right, it is not just that you just come up with new initiative or new strategies when it comes towards the end of the year. However, you have to have different strategies from time to time to make sure you can sustain because your end goal is to make your business or your own venture successful, not going back to your previous work that you hate so much.
Agree with it.
And we have actually covered a lot in this episode, and I think it is a good time for us to stop here because before we go even further, like what do you do after your business is successful? That's still, I would say, quite far, maybe half a year or a year later. So it's now a good time for everyone who are listening right now to rethink about your plan, whether it is a good plan and whether you are able to survive for that 12 months or not. Because remember, you have to always work towards your end goal, not just being affected by all the factors around you right now.
In the future episode, we will talk about what happens after your career is already established and also the mindset of a lifestyle entrepreneur versus a typical employee's mindset.
And with that, we would like to thank you so much for joining us on this episode of the Social Billionaires podcast by Empower Liion. We'll cover more useful content and insightful discussion in the future episodes. Stay tuned. Bye.